Gypsy Rose Blanchard has done lost her damn mind. Yes, that's Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who made and had a friend post a video where Gypsy is making fun of and mocking 7 other content creators. When just 2 months ago, she claimed to be a cyberbullying advocate in this video she posted on her YouTube channel.
Child, you better get your coasters ready because the tea is piping hot. So let me tell you what Gypsy Blanchard did.
Gypsy Rose has proven us all right. She couldn't spend any longer supposedly living a private life. She had to come up with a stunt to get herself back out there. However, her manipulation has only gotten better as she yet again used someone else to do the shady work for her. The Gypsy that promised to have matured and changed is still the same, or even worse, considering what she made her so-called friend do for her. Gypsy is currently begging for attention in the most indirect yet calculated way possible. It's like she's doing everything in her power to stay relevant, but without ever being the one to press post. She doesn't like to be seen as the instigator, never wants to be held accountable when things go south. So instead of putting herself out there, she does what she always does best, find someone else to do the work. That someone, this time, Sheena. And let's not act like Sheena is some distant online acquaintance. No, Sheena is in a circle, deep in it. This is the same Sheena who was handpicked to be there for Gypsy's end of parole celebration. That's major. That's not the kind of invite you give to just anyone. That's someone you vetted, someone you rely on, someone you know will ride for you and not ask too many questions. So when Gypsy needed a favor, no, a stunt, Sheena was her go-to. Gypsy crafted the idea, planned it all, and then passed the baton to Sheena to execute it. Sheena's job? Upload the parody video, take the backlash, and act like it was her own doing. And while Gypsy stayed, think about that. Gypsy wanted to strike a nerve, get a rise out of creators and the public, and be the center of the conversation again. But she didn't want her name attached to the mess, not directly, not where it could hurt her brand. Because remember, this is someone who has been pushing her blown beauty art, high-priced and honestly questionable art pieces, and claiming she's a full-time mom now who just wants peace. But peace isn't profitable. Silence doesn't sell. After going private and watching her business engagement dry up, Gypsy probably felt invisible. Her followers weren't buying, weren't engaging, weren't gossiping about her like before. That silence must have felt suffocating to someone who was used to being the headline, the victim, the voice, the survivor. So what does she do when the noise dies down? She creates more. But the thing is, Gypsy isn't careless. She's cunning. She knew exactly what she was doing by making Sheena her front woman. She knew what kind of reaction that video would provoke. She knew which creators would be offended. She knew it would spark backlash. And she also knew that if she uploaded it herself, people would come for her with pitchforks, demand accountability, and tie it all back to her so-called growth. So what better plan than to use Sheena? Someone who would post it without question. Someone whose platform could take the fall if things got ugly. And let's be honest, it did get ugly. People were mad, hurt. Some found it funny, but most found it disrespectful, tasteful, and just plain wrong. And through it all, Gypsy didn't have to say a word. Didn't have to respond to a single comment. Didn't have to risk her TikTok being banned or her art business suffering. All the flames, none of the fire. That's Gypsy's game. That's how she's always played it from the very beginning. From orchestrating things behind the scenes to watching others carry out her plans. The way she used Nick Godejohn before, that isn't new. This is Gypsy in her element, letting someone else take the fall while she watches from a distance, pretending her hands are clean. Because at the end of the day, what Gypsy really wanted was to be talked about again. She missed the attention, the chaos, the drama, and she used Sheena to get it without dirtying her own image. But make no mistake, this was Gypsy's move. Her orchestration, her desire to be back in the center of the storm, even if she had to hide behind someone else to do it.
Comic-Con is back on TikTok, and guess what? Gypsy Rose Blanchard is first in line with her ticket. Nobody wanted to pay for the meet and greet, I guess. Gypsy no longer wanted to be on social media. She told People magazine that she wanted to live a more private life, and everybody has the right to their privacy, unless you come out putting it on the internet yourself, expecting everybody to love you. But that's okay. We'll cover that later. Well, the Gypinator doesn't want any negativity, to take away from her blown beauty art sales. So she's using Sheena, the other bestie, the one who's suffering from liver disease. Sheena, human to human, I'm praying for you. Like, seriously, honestly, because I've got family members and that's no joke. But honey, you're being used. See, Gypsy doesn't want to taint her. Yeah, never mind, I'm gonna stop there because she already has. Gypsy, you're a schmurderer. We all know what you did. And you're a dirty girl. We saw the emails. We've seen it and heard it all. But now you're using Sheena to post a video that you made mocking, I'm going to call them your favorite creators that have opinions about you. For somebody who doesn't want her life out there, for somebody who doesn't want her talked about, why are you antagonizing those who you know are going to talk about? Oh, wait, because it's because of us that you stay relevant. You don't want us to make money off of you, but unless we talk about you, you're not going to be relevant. Because since you've been quiet with your blown beauty blowout art, nobody cares. Nobody really says anything. And you feel the need for attention. Well, you're welcome. I'm giving it to you. Actually, no, I'm going to give it to Sheena. Sheena Woodall Morales. She's got a different name. I've got it all night or something like that. But if you look up Sheena Woodall Morales, you'll find the page. You'll find the video. It's quite funny. But you know what Gypsy does prove? That she's one hell of an actress. In 2.2 seconds, she changes her look, her attitude, her body language, everything to fit her narrative. Sound familiar? Sir, I need a lawyer. Royal mashed potatoes. My minor child. Yep. It's all still there. She still got it.
Gypsy recently issued a statement to her clients, claiming that she was pausing all orders for her blown beauty art business because she needed to focus on being a full-time mom. It sounded admirable at first. People understood that motherhood requires attention, time, and energy. But the reality behind that statement? Well, it turned out to be something completely different. What she meant by focusing on her daughter wasn't about staying off social media, spending time nurturing or building a quiet life. Instead, she was sitting in front of the camera, taking time out of her day to create parody and mockery videos where she dressed up, impersonated, and poked fun at creators who had been holding her accountable and exposing her actions for months. And this wasn't just one or two quick jokes. Gypsy went all in. The creators she targeted were Keisha, Sweeter Sean, Amber J, Fancy, Sar Morbid, and Nina. Each one of these people had publicly criticized her behavior, dug into inconsistencies in her statements, or spoken out about how she continues to manipulate others post-prison. And instead of addressing those criticisms with maturity or even ignoring them as someone who truly wanted peace, she turned their identities into a joke. She dressed like them. She changed her voice, exaggerated her accents, mimicked their mannerisms, and used her platform through Shida to ridicule them. And in doing so, she showed the internet a version of herself many thought was buried in the past. The version that knew how to switch characters. The same version of Gypsy who once played sweet and innocent while simultaneously plotting the unthinkable.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard has done lost her damn mind. Yes, that's Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who made and had a friend post a video where Gypsy is making fun of and mocking 7 other content creators. When just 2 months ago, she claimed to be a cyberbullying advocate in this video she posted on her YouTube channel. We're gonna watch the video, and I have attached images of who the real people are that she's making fun of in each portion.
Hey everybody, it's Keish. So I'm just waiting for a few more people to come in the live. I'm morbid. Oh my god. Is that Gypsy? She just entered the chat. God, what's up, dipshit? Like, I don't care if she's in here. Like, I'm not gonna block her anyway. I don't block anybody, so it's fine. I just want people to know. I'm so sorry, this is hard to talk about. I just want people to know that if I go missing, call the FBI because Gypsy Rose Blanchard is the one that did it. No, I've never had any interaction with her, but I'm pretty sure she stalked me from like 50 different accounts. Like, I've traced it back to her.
This level of mockery wasn't just performative, it was revealing. In those clips, Gypsy didn't just act, she tapped back into the dual personality mode she had used before. The same role-playing tactics she mastered when she manipulated Nick Godejohn. Back then, she was living two lives, one in front of the public and another in secret. And now, it seems she's doing it all over again. She must have loved the cosplay, the costume changes, the switch of personalities. It was like watching someone who never really stopped playing characters. This time, the costumes weren't for sympathy, they were for shame. And not her own, they were meant to shame others. But in doing so, she exposed herself all over again.
Child, you better get your coasters ready because the tea is piping hot. So let me tell you what Gypsy Blanchard did. So, allegedly, she took a shit today. Yeah. And sources say, well, all I'm going to say is that we all know, like all of us know, that there is no nutrition from corn. Let me know.
She might have been trying to unlock a new niche with her content, maybe something comedic or parody driven. But most of what she did came off as more disturbing than funny. One moment in particular left many viewers completely stunned. When she was mocking at Sweetershon, she actually made a bold joke about someone ending up like her mom. That moment was chilling. Like, did she forget? Did she genuinely forget that she caused her mother's death? That she was involved in planning it, texting about it, emotionally manipulating Nick Godejohn into doing it? How would she bring up her mom, the very person she helped unalive, in a joke? Like it was nothing more than a punchline? There was no flinch, no hesitation, no second of discomfort that showed maybe that she regretted it. Nothing. That wasn't just shocking. It was deeply unsettling. The fact that she could make a joke involving her mother, knowing the trauma, the crime, and the grief attached to that memory, was like watching someone completely detached from reality. It was a reminder of how cold and disconnected she can be when she wants to be. What's worse is that she made it as part of a parody, a comedy sketch. She dressed up and acted out parts, and somewhere in all of that, she decided to throw in a line about someone ending up like her mom. As if that kind of thing is ever okay to joke about. Especially for her. Especially when she hasn't shown any true remorse publicly or privately for what happened. She should have been the very last person to make that kind of joke. It wasn't edgy, it wasn't self-depreciating. It was tone-deaf and insensitive on every level. And it made people question whether Gypsy really understands or even cares about the consequences of her actions. From anti-bullying advocate to cyberbullying. Also, the fact that she went on to mock other creators was giving full-blown cyberbullying, which is especially shocking because Gypsy had previously spent nearly an hour talking about the exact same issue. In one of her past videos, she went on a long rant about the harms of online bullying. She talked about how words can hurt, how content creators should be more mindful, and how cyberbullying affects real people in serious ways. She was passionate about it too. She said people needed to stop the hate. She even mentioned how new laws should be made to hold people accountable for what they say online. She presented herself as someone who had turned a new leaf and didn't want to hurt anyone. She even said that if she ever bullied in the past, it wasn't who she was anymore, and she wanted to be better. She called herself a cyberbullying advocate. And let's not forget, she also called herself a prison reform advocate and even tried to take on the role of Munchausen by proxy advocate. She seems to have a title for every cause when it suits her, especially when it paints her in a good light. But now, here she is, doing exactly what she wants others not to do. She is bullying others online, not just once, not by accident, but intentionally and repeatedly. She planned it, she filmed it, she edited it, and laughed while doing it. All of this after calling herself a voice against online hate. And remember how in the past she would shift blame onto her friends? She'd say things like, "That wasn't me, that was them. I can't control what they do." If her friends bullied someone, she stayed quiet and claimed innocence, saying everyone makes their own choices. So what now? Because this time, it wasn't a friend. It wasn't someone else behind the keyboard. It was her. In character, in costume, in full mockery mode. No middleman, no scapegoat, just Gypsy. She wasn't hiding. She was in skin and flesh bullying. And this time, there is no way to spin it. Racial undertones in her mockery. Also, her mocking wasn't only bullying. It carried a deeper, more insidious undertone. It wasn't just about poking fun or retaliating. It became personal and racially charged. For example, the way she exaggerated Amber J's southern accent wasn't done in jest. It was forced, uncomfortable, and designed to introduce Amber's identity to a stereotype. She went out of her way to forge the accent, drag out the words in a caricature-like manner, and strip Amber of her individuality, turning her into one-dimensional punchline. And then there was Nina. Gypsy went as far as altering her appearance to mimic what she clearly thought Nina looked like: messy, loud, ghetto. The parody wasn't just satire, it was layered with coded language and visual cues that had racial and socioeconomic implications. She deliberately made herself appear trashy to align with stereotypes that have long been weaponized against Black women. This wasn't coincidence, it was a clear choice to demean and degrade. So what Gypsy did went far beyond mockery. It wasn't just bullying, it was subtle, coded racial attack. It was the kind of performative hate that hides behind humor but hits hard for those who see through it.
Okay, so I'm not saying that Gypsy Rose Blanchard is in the right, but I found a connection between all the people that she made fun of that her friend Sheena posted on her page. And this was done with Snapchat, FYI guys. But I made a connection that I don't think anybody's made a connection to quite yet. Actually, a couple of them. Hey, my name's Ashley Trippy. I love talking about true crime, conspiracy theories, and gossip. Sometimes we blur the lines in between all three and we talk about all of it. So if you're not already, be sure to shoot me a follow. And if you have opinions on this, I'd love to hear from you. So leave a comment. Shout out to my girl Conspiracy for the picture I'm using. Go follow her on Instagram if you're not already, and follow her on here. Of course, I'll tag her down below. Now, if you guys haven't seen it, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's friend Sheena basically posted a video of Gypsy making fun of a bunch of content creators. Now, this is after the fact that Gypsy Rose had put on her YouTube channel an anti-bullying post that was over an hour long. Basically, she was saying that laws need to be changed and that people need to stop bullying, but yet here she is. Now, like I said, there's a connection to all of these, actually a couple of them. So the first connection I noticed is these are all content creators that have made their content only about Gypsy. You have Quiche or Keisha, you have Fancy, which I didn't even get the Fancy reference. Maybe I'm not in it that much. I don't know. You have Skip, who lately has been talking about the billboard a lot, who went to prison or was in prison at the same time as Gypsy was. Then you have Amber J, who makes satire content about Gypsy, which she clearly states it's satire. And we have Nina, who again, she's tried to get out of talking about Gypsy, but she still comes back to it because it's what pays her rent. There's Sir Morbid, who again had a panel, which I don't know if he ever reopened his account or not. He had a panel and did nothing but talk shit about Gypsy and her friends and bully them. Then you have the Sweetest Honey, who in my opinion is just looking for clout. Came out of nowhere and accused Gypsy of doing all this stuff when she hasn't even talked to her. Gypsy hasn't even messaged her or anything. She claims that basically she found her IP address and knew it was Gypsy in her burner account, which is highly illegal, by the way. So not only do all these creators only talk about Gypsy 24/7, going live, doing videos, all of it, but these are also people that a lot of creators suspect, and I might get some hate for this. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? Because I suspect some of these people as well. But these are creators that people suspect that Gypsy is on the down low cool with and might even possibly be working with them so she stays relevant here on TikTok. Every single one of these I can see. However, it's just my opinion and some opinions of other creators that don't speak their mind as much as me. I call them how I see them. It's simply wrong to make fun of these people, especially if you're making fun of them because they made fun of you. Like I always say, an eye for an eye makes the world go blind. I know Gypsy said she's not advocating anymore, but to have a video anti-bullying and then to have bullying video, you yourself doing it, yeah, before you can blame your friends or say you don't have control over them. But this is all you, honey. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's disturbing. So...
People who understand the weight of such portrayals were able to immediately recognize how harmful and racially insensitive her actions were. And the worst part? If that video were to be flagged or reported for bullying, harassment, or even hate speech, who would face the consequences? Not Gypsy. Of course not, because she made sure her name wasn't on it. Sheena would be the one risking her account, her credibility, and everything else. Meanwhile, Gypsy remains protected, untouched, and squeaky clean in the public eye, just like she planned. It's another example of how Gypsy manipulates others into doing the dirty work while she maintains the illusion of innocence. And once again, someone else is left holding the bag for her mess, keeping her hands clean. Of course, she couldn't post this anywhere on her accounts because she deactivated one and another is private. Yet, she wanted the world to see this. So she used Sheena to post a video for her. So all the backlash goes back to Sheena because Gypsy deactivated her account on TikTok. It's like Gypsy planned it all, because what are the chances that right after deactivating her TikTok business account, the one she used to sell her overpriced blown beauty art, she just happened to create this controversial parody video and conveniently passed it off to Sheena to post? That timing doesn't scream coincidence, it screams strategy. She knew exactly what she was doing. Why didn't she post it herself? Simple. She didn't want to be associated with the fallout. She didn't want the backlash tied to her name or her crumbling art brand. She knew this video would stir things up, and she didn't want the mess in her yard. This isn't the first time Gypsy has manipulated a situation to maintain a clean image. She's always used others like chess pieces to shield herself while stirring chaos from the background. She manipulates, then disappears. She nudges people to act, then watches them take the hit. It's a recurring pattern. With Sheena, it was no different. Gypsy needed the message out there, needed the buzz. She wasn't willing to risk her own name. But here's the kicker. She's fooling no one. Her name is already tainted beyond repair. She's not some influencer trying to protect a squeaky clean reputation. She's someone who orchestrated her mother's death. That alone overshadows any attempt at rebranding herself as a quiet artist or a new mother. The public doesn't forget. The internet doesn't forget. She wants to keep her hands clean, but it's far too late for that. Her record, both legally and socially, is stained. Trying to act like she's above controversy now is laughable. Her past already speaks volumes, and any effort to pretend otherwise only makes her seem more manipulative. She's not protecting a name that still has value. She's desperately holding on to an illusion that's already shattered. A cry for attention in disguise. Also, for someone who has been preaching about wanting a private life, someone who claimed she was stepping away from the spotlight to focus on motherhood and healing, this was a bizarre way to go about it. If Gypsy truly wanted peace, why would she orchestrate an entire video meant to antagonize and provoke the very people who have been critical of her? It's almost as if she sat down, thought long and hard about what would trigger the content creators she resents the most, and then execute the plan to perfection without lifting a public finger herself. She knew exactly which creators were most likely to react, most likely to voice their outrage, and most likely to reignite the conversations about her. These aren't strangers to her name. They are individuals who have dissected her behavior time and time again. By mocking them through a surrogate, Sheena, Gypsy all but assured they would once again speak on her. It's bait, strategic bait. And she's done it under the guise of comedy, of parody, when in reality, it's manipulation clocked in performance. She doesn't want silence. She wants selective silence. She wants people to think she's disappeared, while in the background, she pulls the strings to keep herself in the mix. It's textbook attention seeking, but done in a way that offers her plausible deniability. She will never openly say, I wanted to trend today. No, she'll stir the pot, retreat, and then when backlash comes, she'll play dumb. She'll play hard. She'll feign ignorance and pretend Sheena acted alone, as if she didn't know anything about it. That's the gypsy pattern. Start the fire, step back, and watch others get burned. Then she'll emerge, not as the instigator, but as the misunderstood figure caught in the middle. She reaps their attention and avoids the accountability. That's the formula. And this time, Sheena is the one holding the match. And just like every time before, Gypsy won't face any of the consequences. If creators report the video, if there is backlash from fans or even platform penalties, Sheena is the one who takes the hit. Gypsy set the stage, handed over the script, and disappeared into the curtains, leaving Sheena exposed under the spotlight. She is playing the same old game, just with different pawns. Addicted to drama. Gypsy has made it painfully obvious that settling down and genuinely caring for her child is not something she truly is committed to. She might say all the right things about motherhood, but her actions scream otherwise. Her behavior reflects someone who is addicted to chaos, so much so that she will go out of her way to manufacture it when life doesn't provide it naturally. And in the latest stunt, she didn't even try to hide it. She leaned into the drama, orchestrated it carefully, and revealed in the aftermath. It's not just about staying relevant for Gypsy, it's about feeling alive in the controversy. She could have chosen a quiet life, one where she focused on healing, parenting, and doing the internal work to be a better person herself. But instead, she constantly stirs up attention, even if it means dragging others down, making tasteless jokes, and reigniting public outrage. That's not growth. That's regression disguised as entertainment. And the public's response to her latest video shows just how divided people are. Some laughed, thinking it was harmless parody. Others felt deeply disturbed, calling it offensive, inappropriate, and tone deaf. But for Gypsy, it didn't matter which side people were on. What mattered was that they were talking, that she was once again at the center of the digital conversation. And by those standards, she got exactly what she wanted. It was a win-win. But is it really a win when it comes at the cost of your integrity? When it chips away at the credibility you've been trying to rebuild? When your parenting becomes background noise in the circus you create for views? So what do you think? Was this Gypsy's twisted version of humor, or just another desperate cry for attention? Do you find her behavior entertaining or unsettling? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on everything that's coming next.